Hey there everyone! Today we are going to be unboxing and installing this, the Myenergi Communications Hub. Right, so let's get started. Let's unbox this. Okay, the Myenergi app will allow you to remotely control and monitor your Myenergi devices without accessing the units themselves, which is exactly why I bought this hub. So one of the things about having the Myenergi Zappi on the wall, and actually my main reason for buying it was it can take the energy obviously out of the solar panels and put it directly into your car, but also it can work with a number of other devices that are made by the Myenergi company. So they make something called Harvey, which is the wireless communications device, which is in my electric meter box. They also make the Eddy, which is the device that goes onto your immersion heater. Now, at the moment, I don't have that, but if all goes well with these products, then I think I'll change my solar eye boost for an Eddy at some point in the future. So this hub should allow me a lot more control over the devices and in an easier way, because the thing is with the current setup is you have to go out to the device itself and you have to scroll through some menus, and the user interface is a little bit limited, or certainly more limited than an app on a phone or through a website. So I'm hoping that this device will make the system more user friendly, and we can then take advantage of some of those features that are inbuilt into the system. So got the box open, and let's have a look and see what we've got in the box. Right, here it is, the hub itself. So it looks very much like the Harvey device. On this inspection. Okay, fantastic. So yes, same form factor as the Harvey device, which is good from a manufacturing point of view, because I'm guessing they only need to then make this enclosure once. I can take advantage of that. And we've got power, server, Harvey, Zappi and Eddy. So you can see here, this gives you a nice reference of what the device is actually in communications with. So once we're finished, we should be communicating with the Harvey and the Zappi that we have. So we should have those two lights on, and obviously the server is their server. So this is the Myenergi server that it will be communicating with, and that will allow us to access it via the app. Okay, so that's that. What else is in the box? Okay, right, the biggest box of all is an AC adapter. Just a regular AC adapter with all of the various plug types. Just clicks in, very neat. We don't need all of those, so unfortunately there's a little bit of waste there. And we've got the update process. Oh, okay. So there's a manual here which is actually taking us through how we update the Zappi and the Eddy and use the hub by the looks of it. So we'll have a quick look at that as well. Right, let's get this thing. And we've also got a small Cat 5 cable here in the bag, which we won't be using because I've got plenty of those. Now you can see on the device itself we've got two buttons, so this one here and this one here. Press to pair, hold for channel, press for mode and hold for download. So these are a number of functions. There's two functions per button, depending on whether it's a short press or a long press. That's worth reading the manual for. This is very similar to the Harvey in the channel pairing, because essentially you can cycle around the different channels. I'm not sure what the mode button does yet, but obviously download is pretty self-explanatory. And then we've got a key here down at the bottom here to show what the different colours will mean. So error, pairing, idle, active, and max, and received. So not quite sure what the other two do yet. We'll have a little read of the manual and see how we go. Okay, so the first thing it's telling us to do in the instructions here is that we need to make sure that this hub is up to date. Right, so we've got to power it on once. So we've powered it on, and what we're doing now is we're just waiting for it to connect to the server, and then once it's got a successful connection to the server, we'll power cycle it whilst holding the download button, and then it will download the updates. According to the instructions, this is exactly where it needs to be now. We've got the power light on. The blue blinking LED means that it's communicating with the server. So what we should now do is unplug it and hold the download button. Whilst we're plugging it in, hold for 3 seconds. And then we let go. Now see what happens. Now it says there during the download process it will flash white, so that was very quick. And it's come back on. And once the download is complete, the LED should return to blue. And there we go. Now the update has completed because the light has returned to blue. Now the next thing that it's asking us to do is go ahead and download updates for the other devices that Myenergi makes, so the Zappi or the Eddy. And it says that assure that the hub is plugged in and powered on. Your hub should be green, which it is. Your server LED should be blue or green, blinking approximately once every second, which it is. On the hub, press the download button and the power LED will illuminate amber. When the server changes to white, release the button. Right, so now we've got the software downloading for the Zappi and the Eddy. So you can see the LEDs have changed colour, and now we're downloading this. So it said it can take up to a minute for this to happen, and after that we'll have all of the software that we need, so that the Zappi that we have, this will have the latest firmware for that. So then hopefully we can pair this all up onto the other two with the other devices that we have on the network, and then we can go from there. This is one of the reasons that I bought this also, is because this device allows you to update the firmwares on the other Myenergi devices. Now, I've had a few bugs, I think, with my Zappi unit, so it would be nice to get the update firmware on there, and there's no other way of doing it. So some people might see that as a bit of a criticism of the Myenergi device, because, you know, effectively they're asking you to buy another device so that you can update the device. But clearly, you know, from a user experience perspective, there's a whole load of other benefits to getting this hub. So I see this as a way of trying to tie together a lot of the systems that I'm trying to, I'm trying to tie together a lot of these systems in the home so that I can put the energy where I need it at the time. And so I'm making best use of my solar power. I'm not just purely exporting it to the grid. It would be much nicer to use the power that we generate locally. So at the moment, that's whether we're putting it into the car or we're putting it into the hot water. And at the moment, we've got really no preferences around where that goes. It's pretty much first come, first served. So the car was charging this morning, which means that the hot water didn't come on until we unplugged the car and went out. There might be some better ways that we want to do that, and you know, clearly that's, you know, just something that we're still exploring. Okay, so now we've got to pair the devices. So all the software's ready. We've just got to now pair up the hub here with the Zappi device. I haven't got an Eddy device at the moment, so we're not going to need that. And the instructions here are fairly comprehensive. It is quite an involved process though. There's a lot of steps that you have to take. First of all, you have to go and make sure you know what channel that you're on. So the default channel is 1. Which I know my device is. And then what you then have to do is you have to put this device into pairing mode, and then go outside to your Zappi unit, or go up into your airing cupboard, or wherever your hot water tank is, for your Eddy, and you have to search for the hub device there. You'll see the serial number and you'll see the name hub, and then you basically have to pair the two together. And once the pairing process has taken place, the light will come on the relevant device, so whether that's the Zappi or the Eddy, or indeed the Harvey in this case. So let's go and do the Zappi unit right now. There we go. So we go. So it's in devices. So it's in link devices. Add device hub. There it is. One device added. Fantastic. So now if we go back into devices at the top, there we go. We've got the hub and the Harvey linked up. So there we go. Diesels. Now that we've got the Zappi unit added on to the network with the hub here, I think the next thing I want to do is actually make sure it's got the most up-to-date firmware on there. So let's try and update that. Just reading the instructions here on how to update the Zappi unit, it's actually not straightforward at all. You have to basically put the device back into its bootloader, so that it then goes and grabs a new firmware and flashes the firmware onto the device. And the steps are, there's a few steps to do, but it's certainly not going to do it automatically when connecting to the hub there. So, as a user experience, this is some heavy lifting that's required to actually do this. But we can cope with that. Let's give that a go. Okay, so to get the bootloader menu going, we need to first. It's raining. No, don't rain. I don't want to do this in the wet. Right, so press and hold the X for 5 seconds. Oh, need to go to the main menu. Press and hold the X. Now hold the tick. Release button. Bootloader. Highlight the downloaded latest firmware. Download latest firmware. Oh man. Oh man, it's 1.7% downloaded. I really should have done this on a warmer day. It's so cold today out here. I was hoping that I could do this bit from indoors. And it's proper raining now as well. Right, stuff this. It's properly raining. I'm going inside. While it's doing that stuff, and whilst it's chucking it down outside, let's download the app and get that on the phone. Okay. So it turns out the app will be available to download in the near future. Please ensure you register your hub device at. Okay. So we don't have an app yet. That's a shame. So let's go and register our hub anyway. Oh. 404. That's a shame. Right, so that's a bit of a shame that the URL seems to have stopped working for the registration. I think they've just had their new website released. I saw something on Twitter about it the other day. So I think I might just need to tweet them and let them know that that URL is gone. Now it has stopped raining, so let's go and see how that download's getting on. 98.99. 100. And that's verifying. All good. Now it's going to reboot with the new firmware. .1. Right, I think it's lost its Harvey. I think it's lost the Harvey. I think we're probably going to need to repair it. Not convinced that that's properly working at the moment, because we're getting no input from the grid and we're getting no generation from the sun. So it would suggest to me that this firmware version, although a lot of the settings have stayed, they haven't. So I think what we'll do is we'll do a factory reset. Right, so everything's gone. Aha! So they've slightly changed the functionality. So I don't know whether this was not working properly, but certainly a fresh factory reset on a new firmware, probably not a bad idea anyway. But now it's come up with the hub and the Harvey. I've just put them both into pairing mode. So we'll go with the Harvey first. There we go. And the hub's in there as well. Now let's turn that annoying beep off. Now, because I've done the factory reset, I need to change the CT inputs that the device uses to detect the power flows from itself, because you can hardwire it, obviously. I've got to change that over to the Harvey unit. Alright, we're back in business. Fantastic. So I just had to go in and redo CT clamp options as well, so I had to turn them off on here, which you do by going into the menu, other settings, advanced, CT inputs, and then you can see the CT inputs for CT1 and 2, which are in here, are set to none, which means it then goes and uses the Harvey CT inputs. And now you can see that we're generating 200 watts of power from the solar, which is going out to the grid because we're not using it in the house, because the car's not on charge and I'm guessing our hot water tank is hot. So there we go. Right, well that wasn't the smoothest operation, but we now do have the Zappi with the green light on, and the Harvey is connected to the Zappi unit as well. So it looked like what happened there was when it downloaded the firmware onto the Zappi, it did download the firmware, and it did keep a lot of the settings, but the settings didn't seem to be active in some way. So although the devices appeared to be linked, it wasn't talking to the hub, and it wasn't talking to the Harvey unit. So that's a bit of a pity. But having it all linked back together now, we just had to repair. The pairing procedure seems a bit simpler in the 2.0, because there was a sort of pairing mode and there was an add device mode in the last firmware, and they seem to have cleared that up a little bit, which is nice. So we've got green lights on the hub here, and we've got energy registering going in or out on the Zappi unit, so we know we're going to be charging using the solar rather than just pulling energy out of the grid. Would I recommend getting this hub device? Yes and no. So the hub itself is about 65 pounds, something like that. And the reason I've bought this device is because in the future I want to do a lot more with this system that we've got in the house here. So I think the hub is a good idea. It's a good investment in the future. I want to do energy storage. So we've got storage happening at the moment where we're storing energy in our hot water. Battery storage at the moment is too expensive, but eventually it will be there, which means that you can store energy. So you could even buy energy from the grid overnight for like 5p a kilowatt hour, put it in a battery, and then you can have the battery energy pushing it into the car whenever you plug the car in. So there's a few options there. So no, I hope that this device will just make it easier to manage all of the different ways that you can store energy in your home, so that you won't have to kind of spend so much time thinking about it. As soon as that software app comes out for your phone or on the website or whatever, then this will really come into its own. So for now, I'd say probably, unless you're having problems, unless you've got bugs with your Zappi unit that you need to do updates, then perhaps actually you should talk to Myenergi and then maybe they'll send you one. I don't know. Maybe they'll give you one for nothing. I chose to buy mine, and I'm looking forward to getting the app. So that's why I've got it. Then hopefully it'll allow us to set up rules like where do we want the energy to go first? Do we want to go energy into the hot water system and then into the car, or do we want it to go into the car and then the hot water? Hopefully it will allow us to set some preferences around where we want the energy that's coming from our solar panels to actually go. That's all for the future. At the moment it is pretty much just to update firmwares and things like that, so probably not worth the money. But once the apps come out, I'll do another video when they come out and let you know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hit like if you liked it, hit dislike if you didn't like it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.